So now it's going to be my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Manukia, one of life's born communicators. After completing a Bachelor of Communications and Public Relations in 2011, Matthew has been an editor, communications coordinator and a correspondent. He's been involved with online sport at TV New Zealand, and I have breaking news. Just before we came on the stage, he told me that he's now been appointed as a sports reporter for One News 6 p.m. So we'll be seeing a lot more of Matthew.
Maloe lele. I'm Matt Manukia, and as someone who graduated from Unitec not that long ago, I can't even begin to express how much of an honour it is to even be considered as a guest speaker here today. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge all of our distinguished guests here, all of the academic staff whose efforts have made this day possible for so many. Also, Unitec CEO Rick Eade, Unitec Council Deputy Chair Diane Kidd, and also all of the Unitec Council members. But most of all, I just want to say a huge congratulations to each and every one of you who is graduating today. As I said, I'm honoured to be a part of these celebrations for your achievement, and I think I speak on behalf of everyone here when I say that we are truly, truly proud of what you've done. So yeah, 3 years ago, I took part in this very ceremony as a student myself, having completed the Bachelor of Communications course with a major in public relations, and I can still remember it quite clearly. For me, it was definitely a day filled with pride. For my family, probably one filled with relief more than anything. I think a lot of them wanted me to take up some other courses, maybe sport or maybe pick up a trade, and for me it was about proving to them that I didn't just sign up to the communications course because that's where all the chicks were. So but since completing my studies, I've been privileged to come back to Unitec to help out with a few things, and I've always said that no matter where I am or what I'm doing, I'll always make time to give back to this wonderful institution, not only because I thoroughly enjoyed my time at Unitec, but more so because of the role that it played in bringing about immense changes in my life. Yeah, as Diane said, at this current point in time, I'm a sports reporter for TVNZ, working for One News at 6 p.m. Since joining TVNZ last May, I've worked for the online team. I've also worked for Midday News and also on the Breakfast Show. Working in sports is definitely my dream job. I mean, sports is my thing. It has been ever since I was a kid, and I finally found a way to be paid to watch it. Yeah, although it's hard to convince my wife sometimes that I'm working while I'm sitting on the couch watching rugby and she's being smothered by two, crying children, but hey, I'm constantly being reminded that what I do is definitely a privilege, whether it's traveling with the All Blacks or going to Super Rugby matches or the Warriors or even tennis down in Stanley Street. But I'll be the first to admit that where I am today is a very, very long way from where I was when I first came to Unitec in 2009. When I first walked into the communications department, my life was, I guess for lack of a better word, it was a mess. I had a rough past or upbringing, and my academic records that I brought into the meeting certainly reflected that. The details aren't important, but what is that I was given an opportunity to get out of a way of life that I guess has been a trap for so many young Polynesian youth, or just youth in this country in general. What's also important is that I proved to myself and also to others that it is possible. Now, this message isn't designed to impress anyone. I understand that because of a few things that people perceive to be achievements, that I'm used as an example to other students. But if I'm openly honest with you, I couldn't care less about the things that I've done. The reason I came back here isn't for self-promotion. In my eyes, I've been incredibly blessed during my journey, and if I'm not using that to bless others, then what's the point? So if I can somehow use, I guess, my experiences to help even just one person here, and with even the smallest thing in their journey to prepare for the next step, then I'll leave here a happy man. So if you're like me and 6 months from now, you still haven't got your foot in the right door yet, or any door for that matter, don't give up. If it takes a little longer than that, maybe a year or so, don't get despondent. I've been to more job interviews than I can remember, some good, some not so good, some that I can honestly say were a useful experience, and others that were just extremely disheartening and really knocked my confidence. But I think if there's one small piece of advice that I would have liked to have received but didn't, that would have gotten me ready for all of that, is this. Be open to starting small and working towards something bigger. I mean, sure, it's cliche and sure, it's very much common sense, but I think it's something that's often overlooked, and I definitely know that a lot of my friends and students from my year would have benefited from adopting that. Yeah, when times were getting really desperate for me, I had the added pressure of the birth of my first child, which was fast approaching, and I needed something good to happen on the work front, and I needed it as soon as possible. But funnily enough, the opportunity which led to where I am today, and I'm in a position where I can provide for my wife and 2 children, was a voluntary position at a place called Auckland Rugby League, which I don't expect many of you to know. At the time, I was looking after a website that I'm sure no one visited, and to be honest, it probably didn't inspire anyone to start doing so. But at the time, it didn't seem like much. Yeah, I was looking for financial solutions. And here I was running around Auckland doing all this work for this company, and I wasn't getting a cent for it. But in hindsight, it was the perfect opportunity for me. It not only allowed me to gain experience, which sort of helps graduates with that chicken egg situation where you want a job to get experience, but no one wants to give you a job because you don't have experience. And it also helped me build my network with connections that I still call upon today. During my time there, I met a journalist from Sunday News who's since gone on to become the head of stuff.co.nz and still contacts me today about work. That meeting with him led to my first paid role at a very small sports website, and the rest is really history from there. And I guess that's the one thing I just want to leave you guys with. Sure, there's a raft of other motivational and inspirational things we can cover, but I just want to say that if your first real opportunity in the workforce isn't everything that you envisioned it to be, just don't get too, I guess, disheartened by that. It's not to say that you shouldn't have lofty goals and ambitions. In fact, that's exactly what you should have, but it's just about getting your foot in the door. Once you do get your foot in the door, really stick at it and work at it. And I guess one other thing I'd say is that with whatever role you end up getting, first off, really embrace it and make it your own. Really develop that work ethic that's going to really pay off, I guess, in a year or 2 later when you do eventually get that dream job. And just lastly, when you do get to where you want to go, be proud to fly the Unitec flag. I was just talking to Rick earlier on, and I was saying I love it how I meet people through what I'm doing with work, and I mentioned that I was studying communications, and I swear this is true. Without blinking, they always just say to me, "Oh, AUT," and I'm like, But I take a lot of pleasure out of telling people, nah, I'm actually from the place where we're about doing. So I just want to leave you guys with that. Once again, I want to say a huge congratulations to all of you. Really cherish this moment. And go out and celebrate. But yeah, you're awesome, and I look forward to meeting each and every one of you out there in the field. Thank you so much for having me here today, and God bless. Thanks.
E nā mana, e nā reo, nau mai, haere mai, whakatau mai, tēnā koutou, kia ora mai tātou katoa. Well, very, very warm welcome to everyone here today. My name's Rick Eade, and I'm Unitec's Chief Executive. And my first job is to thank our guest speaker, Matthew, for what was a terrific story of your journey. What a fabulous ambassador for the place that teaches you how to do stuff for Unitec, and for sharing your insights and your the learnings from your journey, and that fabulous message of, first of all, never give up, be prepared to start small, but maintain that goal, maintain that dream. What a great set of messages. So Matthew, thank you.